The landscapes of our lives are for learning, where experience is our teacher. When we gather together to share our resources, we are destined to love and thrive.
Hey, good morning, Maureen.
Good morning, Pierre. We're going to do a learning practice, and it's my word selection.
Okay.
This episode, and you ready? 3 minutes?
Well, I am, yeah.
Okay, ready, set, go. It's empath.
Empath.
I feel like empath and narcissist are the two words of the day. People throw them around all the time. So,
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, the first thing that came to my mind when you said the word empath is that I learned it pretty late in life. Maybe I also learned empathy late in life. I don't know. I knew the word empathy. That also came a little bit later. And then empath wasn't immediate, I don't think. I just
you call yourself, you think of yourself as an empath?
I think people call me an empath, and then I kind of have to go look it up originally, like what exactly are we talking about here?
Well, it's problematic for some people if they think they're an empath, like, well, I'm such an empath, like I'm highly sensitive, and it's almost like it's problematic in some cases. I just can't stand the fact that people identify themselves as things and then live according to the labels they assign to themselves. It drives me nuts.
I think I've been on that score, so multidimensional, and that's probably a kind word for it, that I've never viewed myself as being labeled. In fact, my whole life journey, I don't know how I got on life journey from empath, but has been, trying to make sense of all the different, avenues and interests that I've had. As far as empath and learning it and understanding it, I warn people if they go to the movies with me that I'm insufferable. Like, it is if every emotion on screen is hooked up through some sort of intravenous, like, port in my system.
Yeah.
And if it goes up too many revs, like I'm out of the theater, like, or something bad is happening.
You feel the feels. Yeah. That is being an empath. It's really getting into the character's shoes, or the other person's shoes, and like feeling deeply what they might be feeling. I mean, I think that's what empathy is, right? And it's such a huge tool in storytelling.
I think, actually, to be very self-disclosing here, it's not so much that I'm feeling the feel, which I'm learning to do more of, but I'm reactive to what I'm watching, and I want to do something about it. And this has been in me since I was a very small child.
Instead of just hold and feel the feels, you immediately like react and want to act to change something.
Totally. If unfairness to me is one of the most reactive, prompts, and I want to do something about that. And I remove myself from the, this goes back to, oh geez, this is so self-disclosing. This goes back to high school and early 20s. I removed myself from movies because I felt that I was unfairly being manipulated by these emotions, and I wanted to save them for like real behavior. Like, I didn't want to suppress that reactiveness.
Interesting.
Like, I couldn't, I still, to this day, I don't want to sit in a movie theater and watch somebody be abused. I just cannot watch that.
Yeah. What do you think there's any value in it, though? I mean, we talk about Aristotle talked about this catharsis, in poetry and art. That's the point of the stage, the drama. And you've got to feel all the feels, right? So that you know what it is to be human.
Well, we're over the 3 minutes, thank God, because I'm slipping right into the patient's chair.
No,
But
I
no,
think
I
it's
think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. I, I need to do a little bit of, more reflection on that.
yeah, I think it's the pause that you talk about. It's having the, I think you have to be intentional about it. Okay, I'm gonna go sit myself in a movie theater and I'm going to try to pay attention to myself as I witness this, and to be curious about my own reactivity and whatever it is I'm feeling, and wanting to either push away or, feel uncomfortable in that pause that you talk about. Like, okay, hold, like this is what's it's basically exposure, right, to things that are,
Yeah, no, I
and
think
you could do it as an
there's some,
experiment,
I mean, I want to get out of this 3 minute word conversation because there's
I'm
definitely
holding you
some,
here. I'm holding you
there's
here.
definitely something here. I'll just relate one story. I was out on a date, and I mean, it's supposed to be a good movie. Let's go to the movies. We're going to the movies. Well, we're going to go see Slumdog Millionaire,
Yeah,
and anything having to do with kids
yeah.
hurt. I'm not a good person with that.
Triggering.
Okay.
Yeah,
I left that movie theater. I sat on the floor and had a full on nervous breakdown. Like, no, and this was the
I'm
first
not
date.
laughing
This
at you.
woman is standing over me like, and
Basket
I am
case.
like hooked up to some sort of like electric current, and I am just,
Mm.
it was just awful.
Super,
It
super
was just
sensitive.
awful.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank God she was a nice person. I mean, you know, but Jesus. Woof.
So was there a second date?
Yeah, no, there was, because she was a nice person.
Oh, good.
And I didn't even stay to see it. I could just see it coming when
Yeah,
this kid was offered a Coke bottle
yeah,
by the guy who was,
yeah, yeah.
grooming the beggars and everything. And I was like, oh, this is not going to end well. And it wasn't too much longer that I was up out of my chair and just was like
Well,
terrible.
I think your self-disclosure, it's funny that you did this in this episode, because I was thinking, we talk about mind body resources and these external other people that we're reading their books, and we're talking about them as these external resources, but we don't really travel our inner landscape too much until we do these little word things, because it's really what it means to us. And so it's interesting to kind of travel that inner landscape a little bit and show that too. So I appreciate your self-disclosure. I'll try to
Oh,
be more
thank you.
self-disclosing in the future.
Thank you. No, that's really so sweet. And I'm going to take this and think about it a little bit more. So
Yeah.
thank you.
I always
Really.
I always warn the people I'm with that, like, don't be disturbed if I cry at a commercial. Like, I'm okay. Rob had to really, like, what is, like, I cry all the time when I see stuff too.
You
And
do.
yeah, yeah, and reading things, and God, hearing a song, I could be weeping driving my car just as much as I would be screaming, singing my version of singing, screaming at the top of my lungs. Like, it's all the same.
Self-disclosure there.
I just think we're just so afraid of the anger or the negative emotions that, like, we think, oh God, like, what's wrong? I'm crying. It's like, well, what's the difference between singing at the top of your lungs and being happy? It's just the other
Yeah.
spectrum.
Yeah. That's really sweet. That is really sweet.
All part of the experience. So
Yeah.
appreciate this talk. I'm Maureen from Landscapes for Learning.
Hey, I'm Pierre from Yoga Heals.
See
Peace
you
through
next
grace,
time.
everybody.